The night he almost died began like every other night he was barely surviving. Rain hammered the empty road with a violence that felt personal, as if the sky itself had decided to test how much one man could endure. His hands were numb on the steering wheel, his breath shallow, his thoughts fixed on the small apartment waiting for him and the child asleep inside it. He did not see the twisted metal ahead until it was almost too late. He did not hear the weak cry for help over the storm until something inside him refused to let him drive past. In that instant, before fear could argue and before logic could interfere, a single father chose a stranger's life over his own safety, and everything changed. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the quiet heroes who walk among us unnoticed, take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. Stories like this remind us that humanity still exists in the darkest moments. Ethan Cole had learned to live with exhaustion as a permanent state of being. Since his wife passed away 3 years earlier, life had narrowed into a single purpose: keep his daughter safe, fed, and loved, no matter what it cost him. He worked as a night maintenance supervisor for a massive corporate tower downtown, a building of glass and steel that never slept even when the people inside it pretended they did. The pay was modest, the hours brutal, and the recognition non-existent, but it kept the lights on and food on the table. Every night, he clocked out after midnight and drove home through half-empty streets, replaying the same mental checklist of bills due, groceries needed, and the soft promise he made to his daughter every morning that things would get better. That promise felt thinner on the night of the storm. Water flooded the roads, headlights blurred into streaks, and Ethan's shoulders sagged with the weight of a double shift. His phone buzzed with a message from the daycare reminding him of a late fee he could not afford. He exhaled slowly, steadying himself, when the reflection of crumpled metal flashed across his windshield. A luxury sedan had skidded off the road and slammed into a concrete divider, its front end crushed like paper. Smoke rose from the hood, and rain soaked everything, turning the scene into a blur of danger and urgency. Ethan's foot hovered over the brake. He knew the risks: cars speeding past in low visibility, potential fire, the simple truth that he had a child waiting for him at home. For a fraction of a second, he considered calling emergency services and driving on. But then he saw movement inside the wreckage, a pale hand pressed weakly against shattered glass, and the choice was no longer a choice at all. He pulled over, hazard lights flashing uselessly in the rain, and ran toward the wreck. The door was jammed. The metal screamed in protest as he forced it open with everything he had left. Inside was a young woman, unconscious, blood trailing down her temple, her breathing shallow and uneven. The air smelled of gasoline, sharp and terrifying. Ethan's heart pounded so hard it hurt, but he did not stop. He pulled her free, his muscles burning, his lungs screaming for air, just as sparks flickered near the crushed engine. He stumbled back, slipping in the rain, shielding her body with his own as he dragged her away from the car. The explosion that followed was sudden and deafening, a burst of heat and light that knocked him to the ground. Pain exploded through his side, and for a moment, the world went dark. Sirens wailed somewhere far away, growing closer, and rain continued to fall as if nothing extraordinary had just happened. When Ethan opened his eyes, paramedics were there, voices urgent, hands moving quickly. He tried to sit up, to explain, to make sure the woman was alive, but darkness claimed him again before he could finish the thought. He woke up in a hospital room that smelled of antiseptic and quiet despair. His ribs were fractured, his arm burned, and his body felt like it had been rearranged without permission. A nurse told him he was lucky to be alive, that the timing had been miraculous. The woman he saved had been rushed into surgery and was in critical condition. Ethan nodded weakly, relief washing over him stronger than the pain. He asked if he could go home. His daughter would be waking up soon. She would be scared if he was not there. But the world did not move at Ethan's pace. He spent 2 days in the hospital, staring at the ceiling, worrying about lost wages and unanswered phone calls. On the third day, his supervisor called, not to ask how he was, but to inform him that extended absence would be noted and unpaid. Ethan apologized instinctively, as if nearly dying had been an inconvenience he should have planned better. He was discharged later that afternoon with a bag of medications and instructions he barely had the energy to process. What he did not know was that the woman he had pulled from the wreckage was fighting her own battle just floors above him. Her name was Claire Harrington, and she was the only daughter of Victor Harrington, the powerful CEO of the very corporation whose building Ethan cleaned every night. She had been driving home after a late meeting, exhausted, distracted, and the storm had done the rest. When Victor received the call, his world fractured in a way no boardroom crisis ever had. Money, influence, and power meant nothing as he sat by his daughter's bedside, watching machines breathe for her. Claire survived, slowly, painfully, and when she woke, fragmented memories of fire and rain haunted her dreams. She remembered a face not clearly, but enough to know someone had been there when she thought she was alone. Someone had pulled her from death without asking who she was or what she was worth. Victor demanded answers. Hospital staff traced the incident. Police reports were reviewed, and eventually a name surfaced. A maintenance supervisor, a single father, an employee so low on the corporate ladder that Victor had never noticed him before. Ethan returned to work still bruised and limping, pushing through pain because that was what survival required. He said nothing about the accident. He did not seek praise or reward. He simply resumed mopping floors and fixing leaks, counting hours until he could pick up his daughter and pretend, for her sake, that everything was fine. That illusion shattered when he was summoned to the executive floor without explanation. The office was unlike any space Ethan had ever been in. Quiet, polished, intimidating. Victor Harrington stood near the window, older than Ethan expected, his confidence tempered by something raw and human. He turned slowly, eyes heavy with gratitude and grief, and told Ethan the truth. About the woman in the car, about who she was, about how close she had come to dying. Ethan listened in stunned silence, his mind struggling to connect the dots. The stranger in the rain, the name that ruled the building he worked in. The realization landed heavily, but it did not change the core of what he felt. He had not saved a CEO's daughter. He had saved a human being. Victor thanked him in a way words could barely contain. He spoke of debt and gratitude, of family and fear, and then he did something unexpected. He asked about Ethan's life, about his daughter, about the strain of single parenthood. For the first time in years, someone with power truly saw him. What followed was not a miracle, but it was close. Ethan was offered medical coverage that erased his hospital debt. His role was reassessed, his salary increased, his hours adjusted to allow him to be present for his child. Victor established a foundation in Ethan's name, not as charity, but as recognition of quiet heroism. Claire, still recovering, insisted on meeting the man who saved her, and when she did, tears replaced words. But the greatest change was internal. Ethan's daughter noticed it first. The way her father smiled more, the way his shoulders seemed lighter, the way hope, once a fragile thing, began to feel real again. Ethan learned that doing the right thing did not always come with immediate reward, but sometimes, against all odds, it came with a reminder that kindness echoes farther than we ever expect. As this story nears its end, take a moment to ask yourself how many unseen heroes cross your path every day. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to help spread messages of compassion and courage to others who need them. Before we close, we have one special request for you. Please comment the word humanity below if you believe simple acts of bravery can change lives. Ethan never sought recognition, and he never will. He still drives those same roads, still works hard, still loves his daughter with everything he has. But now, when the rain falls and the world feels heavy, he knows something he did not before. Even in our most exhausted moments, even when life has taken almost everything from us, we still have the power to save someone. And sometimes, in doing so, we save ourselves.